They told me to get on my knees. Imagine that 73 years old pearls on pocketbook pressed tight to my ribs and a boy with a badge barking, "Down grandma now. My name is Lillian Brooks." This happened in a parking lot outside Pine County Savings in the little river town of Cedar Ford. Warm Tuesday sky, honest and blue, and people watching like it was some matinee they didn't pay for. I hadn't come for drama. I came to take out $13,000 tuition and books for my grandson Tariq. I wore my Sunday blouse because I was proud. I tucked a framed photo of him and his crooked smile into my purse for good luck. Inside, I waited my turn. The teller, his name tag said Kyle laughed soft with the man ahead of me, the kind of laugh that's a handshake. When it was my turn, that laugh was gone. "How can I help you?" he said, each word wrapped in plastic. "I'd like to withdraw $13,000 from my personal account." I slid my card and ID forward, driver's license, clean as church glass. Kyle looked at the ID, then at my face, then back at the ID, like my cheekbones were lying. "That's a significant amount." "Do you understand what you're asking, son?" I said, smiling like I was tasting a lemon drop. "I've balanced ledgers longer than you've been alive." He didn't hear me. He scuttled to the back with a manager in a tight gray blazer, a woman who never looked me in the eye. I watched her whisper to the security guard. He watched me like a storm was forming over my head. That's when the squad car rolled in, two officers' boots loud on tile. Folks went quiet the way churches do just before the sermon. "Ma'am," the taller one said. "Wolf," I later learned, step outside. "I'm making a withdrawal," I said. "From my account. We can talk outside." We could have talked right there at the counter. We could have looked at a screen and matched numbers. But Cedar Ford loves the show, so out we went, me with my back straight and my heart drumming its own drumline. In the sun, the routine changed its clothes, voices harder, hands closer to holsters. "We've had fraud in elderly accounts," the short one, Carter said. "I'm getting my passport," I answered, slow enough to make a statue jealous. "Keep your hands where we can see them," he barked, and I froze mid-breath. I gave them the passport anyway. Carter glanced for half a blink. "Could be fake, or it could be real. Like the name on the building is real." I pointed at the sign. "Wolf asked for my purse. We need to check your belongings." He didn't wait for my yes. He dumped everything on their cruiser, lipstick tissues, reading glasses, that framed photo sliding toward the edge like a tiny cliffhanger. I reached. He snapped, "Don't touch." The frame fell, glass shattering. Tariq's smile split by a bright white crack. I felt the heat rise, not the kind you sweat off, another kind altogether. "Mrs. Brooks," Kyle had said earlier, like my name carried a question mark. Out here, it didn't carry anything at all. I wish I could tell you I gave a speech right then that solved America. But what I did was simpler. There's a phone my son gave me, a big silly thing with one extra button under the case, so easy even old fingers can find it by feel. He made me promise if anything ever feels wrong, Mama, press it and keep pressing till it connects. My thumb found that button while Officer Wolf explained how my Social Security card doesn't look like they do anymore. "It's from 1969, I said. "So am I." They bagged my cards like museum pieces. People in the lobby pressed to the glass. Some recorded. Recording's not the same as intervening. You learn that quick. The manager in gray stood by the door with her arms crossed, satisfied, like I'd proved a thesis for her. "Call my son," I told him, voice steady as a pew. "He'll clear this up." Wolf chuckled. "Everybody's got a cousin who's a lawyer. My son isn't a lawyer," I said, and left it there. "You don't see the other end of a call, but I'll paint it for you 50 miles away in a building with more flags than windows. My son, Marcus Brooks, the United States Attorney General, was finishing a meeting on something I'm sure mattered. His security guy stepped in, headphones already on. "Sir, your mother's emergency line is live." The room shifted around my boy, but his face went still. "Get me the chief of Cedar Ford and open a line to Pine County Savings. We're not guessing at this one." Back in that parking lot, Wolf checked the hidden flap inside my wallet because I told him to, because I'd promised Marcus I'd carry one more card I hated carrying. The officer's lips moved as he read family credential, emergency contact, federal seal, and the color emptied out of his face like somebody pulled a plug. "Ma'am, this says I know what it says," I answered. The radios on their shoulders came alive like cicadas. Words like confirm, copy, advise. I gathered the pieces of Tariq's photo like they were eggshells. Folks who hadn't cared now cared very much. The manager in gray disappeared, then reappeared with a new mouth. Mrs. Brooks, please come inside. We can... No, I said. We can do this right here where everybody can see what we looks like. Sirens in the distance, not for me this time. Black sedans, clean shoes, the soft thunder of authority. Marcus stepped out, 6'2", of quiet and tailored eyes searching for only one person. When he reached me, that federal jaw unclenched. Mama, you okay? I'm fine, I said, and meant it. Fine and furious and tired in a way sleep doesn't fix. He turned to the police chief who'd hustled in trying to look taller. We'll need badges, body cam footage, incident reports, now. Then to the bank's regional man who was sweating like July. We'll also need your policy manuals, internal memos on unusual withdrawals, and every complaint lodged in the last 2 years. The regional man tried a smile. Attorney General, I'm sure we can handle this quietly. Quiet is what got you here, Marcus said. We're doing loud. The manager in gray tried to apologize. You have to understand, we get scams and sometimes people like me, I asked, older black carrying our lives in a purse you don't respect. She stared at her shoes. Kyle, the teller, finally found a spine. Her account is premium tier, he blurted. Been here since the 80s. I should have checked before I called security. That's the first true thing said to me today, I told him. There was a moment thin as a hair, bright as a match, where the whole room tilted. It could have fallen into denial or excuses or we'll do better emails. Instead, it fell into the kind of silence you get when people realize they've been seen. What followed you already read in headlines. Officers Wolf and Carter put on leave, then out for good after other tapes surfaced and told their own ugly stories. The bank's CEO resigned on a Friday night when they hope you were watching football. Policies changed, screens, changed photos, gone from first review numbers, judged by numbers, not faces. My son recused himself from the parts that needed recusing, but his team kept pressing the kind of pressure that turns stone to powder. Me, I went home and made tea for the people who came to plan. We started a small thing that grew a community table for banking rights, a hotline you can call when the teller turns your dignity into a test. Funny thing, when banks stop treating bias like a feature, their profits go up. Turns out respect retains customers better than free pens. Months later, I walked back into that same branch. It looked different, light open privacy nooks, so no one has to announce their business to a room. A young woman at the desk smiled with her whole face. Good morning, Ms. Brooks. How can we help you today? Help, not handle, not monitor. Help, we finished in 5 minutes. On my way out, Officer Johnson, the third one from that day now, wearing a tie and a new job title, held the door. He nodded, I nodded back. We don't have to be friends, we just have to be fair. I know what some of you are thinking, did they only fix it because of who my son is, probably. That's the part that tastes bitter no matter how much sugar you stir. But here's what keeps me showing up. Every change we carved in that lobby now protects people whose sons don't wear suits with flags on the lapel. That's the win I count. So tell me, where do you land on this? Was what happened to me a couple of bad actors, or a mirror showing something we'd rather not see? Have you or your parents, your neighbors, ever been treated like a problem when all you did was show up with your name and your money? Drop your stories in the comments, right, wrong, gray in between. And if you believe dignity shouldn't depend on who you can call, hit like, subscribe, share this with someone who needs backup today. Awareness is the first step. What we build after is on all of us.